Supermarket near me. Activities near me.
Restaurant
Near me. Open
Work
now.
shoes.
The way people search has changed. Consumers are online searching for products and services in their area while they are on the move. 50% of all online search today is for local businesses near me. And if you want them to visit a store offline, you have to get in front of them and make them choose you online. Consumers use smartphones to guide them to nearby products and services in their area at the moment they need to make a purchase. And if you don't have a local strategy to increase your online visibility, potential customers will pass you by. This strategy is called Near Me Marketing. Near Me Marketing helps you reach more consumers at multiple touchpoints at the moment they search, discover, and engage. Our platform helps you reach more consumers by spreading your business information across the most important maps, directories, and search engines, increasing your online visibility. That way, a consumer finds your location even when they aren't searching for you. And once they become a customer and leave a review, you'll be able to track, manage, and reply to reviews, keeping the conversation going, turning engagement into trust. This is the age of Near Me. This is how consumers are engaging with local businesses right now. And by creating your own Near Me customer experience, you'll grow your online engagement and increase foot traffic to your stores.
Hi, everybody. Dave Walker again, and we're here to talk more transformation. We've had a couple of sessions already about the transformation that's going on in small businesses as 2020 has done its wonderful dance on all of our heads. Today we're going to talk about, in this session, we're going to talk about the perspective of transformation that's going on in web presence and reputation management for small business. And to do that is a subject matter expert in the space, and that's Mr. Nick Burgoyne of Uberall. Welcome, Nick.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you. I won't do nearly as good a job as you will in telling about your background, which I know you've been involved in the online space for small businesses for a long time. But to give us your background and to tell us a little bit about Uberall, which isn't necessarily a household name for all of us, if you would, please.
Sure. Yeah. So hard to believe, but I've spent 20 years in the space and working for companies that have been focused on enabling SMBs to grow their business. And that's primarily within the Yellow Page publisher industry. Mm-hmm. Basically developing strategies and strategic partnerships to ensure that they get found and get selected when consumers are looking for their products and services. I jumped into the space, before Google, before Yelp, before the iPhone. So it's been this amazing ride over 20 years, watching digital revenue for that industry go from less than 20 million to greater than $1 billion. So a really fun ride, lots of fun stuff. And really fun in the role that I played. So doing strategic partnerships, I had this opportunity to evaluate new opportunities, look at all sorts of new companies and partners that provided digital advertising and software specifically tailored for SMBs. Platforms that enabled SEM, SEO, display, mobile display, social media. So I've had this great opportunity to see all these amazing companies, many of them who are attending this conference, do amazing things to help SMBs and companies that support them. And it was in this role that I became aware of Uberall, and it's focused on the most important activities that an SMB can address to get found and get selected. So who is Uberall? Uberall is a platform that enables businesses to manage their information, their content, and reputation everywhere, or in German, Uberall. Regardless of device, computer, mobile, digital assistant, in-car navigation, regardless of property, Google, Facebook, Apple Maps, Yelp, TripAdvisor, or Bing, Uberall ensures that business's information and content is current, accurate, consistent, and engaging, right, across all those different properties, all those different platforms. And so I only joined in January, new to the company, joined this great team headquartered out of Berlin, with offices across the globe. So offices in San Francisco, Paris, London, Cape Town, Amsterdam, most recently Montreal. I sit in Denver remotely. And joined the team to bring on new reseller channel partners to help their SMBs and enterprise clients. You know, the business started with SMBs, but we basically, you know, provide a platform for both enterprise and multi-location businesses, as well as SMBs. In Europe, we'll sell directly to clients in big brands like British Petroleum, Pizza Hut, KFC. You know, BP has over 20,000 global locations on the platform. But then, you know, 7 years ago with the start with SMBs, and there's been a lot of focus, 50% of our business is really through partners and reseller partners, most of them white labeling our solution. 150 partners, by the way, across the globe. And, you know, I won't go through a list of 150, but some of those, again, are in your audience. There's Australia's Yellow Pages, Census, there's Boostability, there's Duda, and then, as you saw last month, Gannett and Reach Local. And so to give you a sense of scale, we've got 1.25 million locations on the platform globally, and half of those go through reseller partners.
Cool. So I would imagine with all of these businesses on the platform that you guys are able to collect lots of data on the usage habits, the traffic, receptivity, everything. So talk to us a little bit about the data that you guys collect that really provide you the insights that we're going to talk about.
Yeah. So, you know, with our platform kind of focused on getting found and getting selected, most of our research is really focused around digital or online or web visibility, as well as reputation, both consumers and how businesses manage their reputation, and then kind of general search, not really general search, but general local search behaviors.
So I imagine as like all businesses, all of those who are selling to small businesses, as the pandemic took hold, there are things that start to emerge. There are trends that start to emerge. Talk to us a little bit about those early trends and give us kind of the evolution that's happened with those trends.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Those trends that we saw, reviews have always been used as a kind of a tool in helping me select the business that's going to provide me products or services. And what we saw pretty early during the crisis is that those reviews actually, both in what consumers were populating and saying about those businesses, as well as the use on the consumer side, started to trend towards like, is this a business for me to do business with where I'm going to be safe, right? Mm-hmm. So, if I'm going to go and grab burgers for my family of 4 at the burger joint down the street, are the guys in the back that are flipping the burgers, are they wearing gloves? Are they wearing face masks? Are they wearing the face masks properly? And it was really interesting to see the volume of those types of reviews increase during the crisis. And again, use. I mean, look at my personal use. It's really important to me that a business has really safe practices. And if they're not, I'm going to write a review for my other neighbors and my other families in the neighborhood, but also to communicate to headquarters, right, that's something that they need to fix at the local level.
Mm-hmm. So what about on the proactive side, on the small businesses side, did you notice that they needed to change the information that was part of their online presence?
So I don't think they realized it themselves. And again, here in North America, we only sell through partners. But what we found is, look, in the beginning, they were all treading water and trying to figure out how do they keep their folks employed, how do they keep their mm-hmm. doors open. But then, as the number of phone calls increased, right? With really basic questions like, are you open? What are your hours of operation? What are you doing differently related to COVID? How many people can sit in your restaurant? Is it all outdoors? Do you do curbside pickup? All these phone calls, right, that these SMBs are receiving, which easily could be managed and should be managed by an online business profile. That realization on the business owner side, coupled with our partners and their business advisors reaching out to them at the same time with this tool to enable them to do exactly that, the timing was really, really good for us, like amazingly so. Not those first couple months, when the crisis hit and it just felt really squirrely for everybody. But once economies started to open back up, folks realized the importance of real-time updates to their business profile. And then the realization that we have a tool, or our partners have a tool to help them in that process and in that management, immediately kind of created a great opportunity for Uberall.
So you would probably say that the small businesses, at least at this stage, kind of know what they need, and they know the kind of attention they need to pay to that kind of thing.
I don't think all of them knew prior to the crisis. I think during the first stages of the crisis, holy cow, I need to be managing this actively. The realization that there was tools came shortly after that. Now, I think the action to actually, pay or take on one of those tools and actively manage, we've seen increasingly that adoption in the last couple months. And I think as things fluctuate, like, look, this stuff changes by state, by county, by city, by type of business, and it doesn't change monthly, it changes weekly, right? Like the governor here in Colorado just put additional restrictions on certain businesses just this weekend because numbers were starting to creep up. And so I think, as we go through this new phase over the next several months, they're going to realize that they absolutely need a tool like this to manage their information broadly.
So do you think that the changes that have come about over the course of the last few months for small business and this more recent kind of realization of what they need to do you think those are permanent changes, that's really kind of a transformation that takes hold and lasts a long time?
It surprises me on when we look at data for reputation management, and the team did a great study specifically on reputation management. Only 25% of SMBs actually respond to reviews, which just blew me away. Only 1 out of 4. I think they realize, or will soon realize, the greater importance around managing and responding. So going back to some of the research we did this report to show, taking a look at kind of activities around reputation management. And if you can move your star rating just 0.1 up from a 3.8 to a 3.9, you can basically lift your engagement. So calls, website visit, clicks, directions by 25%. Like, it's dramatic. A small change into that star rating can really drive conversions for you. And for an SMB, right, that's really important because you have fewer reviews, and you get 2 or 3 bad reviews and your denominator, your total number of reviews is only 20, 25. It really negatively impacts that star rating review. And so as our partners and as business owners just become aware of how important reputation is, not just to grow their business, but also just to keep their business open, I think that engagement in their profiles and local presence management is going to, it's been quickly adapted during this period, and I think it's going to continue to grow thereafter.
So does it point you guys in the direction fairly clearly of what additional capabilities that Uberall needs to offer, or does it help kind of design your product roadmap?
A little bit, yeah. So one of the great realizations for us as a company was this was the proof, right? during these times, this is not an activity that's set it and forget it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is an activity for local presence management that is something you need to do on a weekly basis to truly manage your business and kind of take ownership of that consumer journey, right? So that's been a great realization that both we and businesses are starting to realize that it's active management, not just one and done, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's been great. As you looked at certain things that Google My Business introduced, like we were on top of that very quickly. So, we introduced a COVID-19 related field, specific field related to kind of how you're operating relative to the crisis. That dropped into the platform within weeks after GMB introduced it. And so we're ensuring that our platform, enables that business, big or small, to be able to take advantage of those different fields, those different ways that you can communicate to both existing and prospect consumers.
So as you really look at this landscape of online presence and what you guys have obviously very successfully built out as a response to that, are there pieces of it that you kind of look at and go, boy, that's a great opportunity for a partner to work with us to help their constituent base? Or are there pieces of advice that you would give to other product developers of the opportunities that you guys have responded to that, hey, somebody else should take this up? It's not really in our wheelhouse, but this is really needed.
So in North America, we only sell through partners. So that looks like digital agencies. It looks like ad agencies. It looks like anybody that has a relationship with SMBs and has an interest in enabling them to grow their business. So the folks that we look to partner with, it's pretty broad. All it takes is the fact that they have relationships with enterprise, multi-location or single location SMBs, and have an interest in really kind of helping them, succeed. So it's really broad. So when I look for partners, and we look for folks that can help us in this task, it's really the channel. It's really the people that touch those clients directly, because that's not where we play. We're the tech platform, but it's anybody that's in front of them and trying to help them, during this period of time.
So is there anything else you want to tell us? I mean, I want to give you the stage here as we wrap up to really address any research or any kind of insights or asks that you've got of our audience, of our community.
Yeah, no. So, I think about the crisis, and I think about, personally how I've been viewing it, and so, it's interesting. So we, as business owners, right, or business managers, we're all looking at these numbers, right, and we see business closures, we see unemployment. And I tend to think that I'm a pretty in touch guy with these small business owners, but recently in the last week realized I completely had that wrong. And I was completely out of touch. And it was pretty painful the way that I kind of discovered this. But, I had you see what, like from our friends over at Yelp, that, 60% of restaurants have closed down and permanently closed. And I tend to think, most of the pain is by restaurants and hospitality and hotels, until I start talking to folks. My neighbor down the street, he's in construction. And I thought home services, actually was doing really well, maybe even better than 2019 this year. But then I kind of dig a little further and find out his business is solely focused on restaurants. So the guy had no revenue coming in the door for 3 months following the crisis. Now he's ramped back up and people are back in business and things are, the activities, coming back together, and there's supply chain issues, whatever. And that's a whole nother webinar you could do. But then I chatted with my brother this weekend. He's a small business owner. He basically sells, leases, and installs ramps for those with disabilities. And you would think, right, that is a pretty pretty solid business to be in, right?
Pretty
Regardless
focused.
of what's going on in the economy or a pandemic, like you need a ramp, you need a ramp. Not true. So, I mean, his business, a large part of it's done on kind of elective surgeries, which completely were shut down for 2 to 3 months.
Yeah.
Another big portion of his business is events like graduations, which didn't happen this fall. And this, he even has clients that are renting ramps from him that are returning them early because they're not leaving the house. They've got nowhere to go, so they don't need a ramp. So his business has dropped. The revenue he brings in has dropped 70%.
Wow.
Right? I mean, can you imagine that? Can you imagine your paycheck being cut down to 30% of what it's been in the past? Right? I can't. Like, I'd have to move out of this house. It'd be incredibly painful.
Right.
And Dave, this is my brother. Like, how'd I miss this? Right? It wasn't until I started really asking the questions on how this was kind of hitting him. And I think that, if all of us as a community, and we're saying we're trying to help small businesses, we've got to talk to them. So, talk to that neighbor, talk to that sibling, any small business owner where you have a decent enough relationship where you can ask them real questions and get real answers. And we're all going to be better for it, right? We're going to truly understand the pain these guys are going through. And we can all basically kind of, set up how we do our business here in the next 12 months to truly help them with those needs.
That's a terrific perspective, Nick. And I couldn't agree more. Does it leave you feeling you've been in this business, serving small businesses for a very long time? You're obviously got a fingertip feel for what's going on right now. Are you bullish on the future of small business?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no question. So, we're going to come out of this, and I think the pendulum is going to swing from where we're at today all the way to the other side, where people are going to want to get out of their house. They're going to want to go to SMBs. You're going to want to go to brick and mortar. They're going to want to go out and do that shopping in person. So I think it's going to swing kind of, further than maybe where we were in 2019. Maybe with a few less dollars in their wallet, right? But they're going to be out there and wanting to engage in person and want just that human contact. And then we'll probably, come back to center and back to normalcy. And I look at SMBs, like, look, they're resilient, right? So I talk about my brother, right? He's the toughest guy I know. He got knocked down, but he's going to bounce back up. I mean, he told me over the course of that conversation, he just lined up, to install 7 ramps for mobile COVID testing stations for schools that he'll do earlier this week. And now all of a sudden he's basically October is going to be his best month of the crisis. So it's, look, they're resilient. They're looking at creative ways to stay afloat and to grow. I think everyone's going to be fine as we come out of this, for sure.
That's terrific. I too am bullish. And like you, I do believe that small businesses need the kind of help that you guys are giving, but also the kind of support to really absorb that help, to actually use it. Yeah. And that'll be critical. Hey, this has been terrific. And I appreciate you giving us yet another perspective on transformation that's going on up there among small business. And I think there's probably nothing more important. Their first line of defense and offense is just getting found. And that's what you guys are such key partners for them. So thanks a lot, Nick. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. Really enjoyed it. Take care.
Thanks a lot.